Hey everybody, Craig here. Today I show you my quick editing process using Lightroom with some baseball photos that I recently took. Now my goal when I'm editing is to do it quickly, efficiently, to get them pushed out on social media as fast as I can. So say this game ended at 7 o'clock in the evening, it's in a couple hours, I want some photos up and pushed out on social media, so Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, so people know there's photos available and there's more coming. That way, it's fresh in their minds. Instead of waiting, say you waited 2 or 3 days to get them all edited and say you really took your time to make all the colors really pop and to where it's like boomified beyond imagination. By that time, they've moved on to a new game and they don't care. So you have less chance of making sales than you would if you push them out immediately. Plus, the sooner I get these edited, the sooner I can reach out to local newspapers and say, hey, got some photos, hit me up, I'll sell them to you, cheap. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. $50, right? Yeah. We know how newspapers are. They're stingy. I'll give you $5. That's all I'm going to give you. So anyway, before I get off on a tangent on newspaper industry, let's jump into editing these photos. In showing you my process, I'm going to figure that you're smart enough to know or have experience using Lightroom and you've got the photos into your library and you're ready to start editing. Now again, you have to figure out your own style, how you want to do things. This is mine. One of the first things I do once they're into my library, I select them all. And then what I do is I hit the number 3. This gives me a star rating of 3 stars. Then I go down to the bottom and I go to this little filter area. And I get this guy and I put rating is equal to 3. 3. There we go. So now it shows all the 3 stars. After that, I will go through each photo individually and give it a 1 or a 5. 1 means I don't want it. 5 means I'll edit it, or maybe it's one I want to look into a little more. You ready? 320 photos, one by one. First shot of the game, just to see what the settings are like. Don't want that one. Another one, just to check settings. Don't care for that one. This one, another one, just wasn't trying to get things in focus, just checking the settings. That's going to be a 1. Now that one, I like. That'll be a 5. That has potential, that's a 5. No potential there. Maybe. No. 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 Maybe. No. No. Instead of taking you through every single photo and letting you know whether I keep it or not, I'm just going to fast forward. We'll do this real quickly and I'll be right back and we'll start editing. All right, went through 320 photos, gave it a 1 or a 5. Now let's see how many I have left that I need to edit. Go back down to the bottom, click 5 stars. Now I have 53 photos that I need to go through and edit. Are you ready? Let's do it. First photo up. I actually like it. I think it looks pretty good. Got some good color to it. So, but let's crop it in just a little bit so we're focused more on the player. Now the corrections you're going to see me make based on how I'm seeing the photo and what I want it to look like. So it's all up to me. It's all personal preference. So first thing I would do, since I've cropped it now, I'm going to drop the highlights. As you'll see, it kind of pulls some of the shadows out. Don't need to worry about exposure. Exposure's right on. We're at 1/2002 f6.3 at ISO 640. But I am going to add some clarity and add a little contrast. Then I'll go down. Don't need to sharpen it. Don't need to worry about noise reduction. Now, if you want, you can do this one as well. You can You can enable profile corrections. What that does, it gets rid of geometric distortion and vignetting caused by the lens. You can see a little bit of difference it makes when I add it. It's another one that's personal preference. You may or may not like the look of it. All right, next photo. Come on. This is a cool shot. It's just getting a shortstop. Looks like shortstop. Definitely needs to be cropped in though. I don't care about the sign in the background. I want him right there. All right. Again, let's drop the highlights a little bit. Not a lot on this one. Settings stayed the same. Let's bump up some contrast, clarity. And this one, I'm going to bring it some shadows. Kind of losing it right there. It's a little too dark. Again, don't need to worry about sharpening or noise reduction. If you want to do that, you can add it. You can see it changes the photo just a little bit. Not a ton. Group shot. Kids like the group shots because they're all together, right? So, don't know if anybody's going to want this photo, but I'll crop it in a little bit. Since it was in the shade, same settings I've been using, but it's going to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to bring up the exposure a little bit, drop just the highlights just a titch. A little more contrast, but seeing you add the contrast, it makes it a little darker. So you got to keep that in mind. I'm going to pull up the shadows so I can see them a little better. And again, don't need to worry about sharpening or noise reduction at 640. You don't really need to worry about that. Speaking of settings, just so you know, all these photos were taken with the Nikon D7200 and the Sigma. The Beast 150 to 500 lens. This is a great lens, great combination. If you're just getting started, check those out. Now this one's kind of cool, the picture. I definitely need to crop in, and we're going to straighten it just a little bit. Now what I want you to see also is, see this fence? See this fence? I had to shoot over the fence. So I had a step stool and I was shooting over the fence. When I take a photo from the other side, when I show you one of those photos, I'll show you about where I was at for most of these shots. So on this one, we're going to drop highlights immediately. As you can see, he's kind of washed out right there. Drop some highlights. Add some contrast, add some clarity. And again, it's just on how it looks to you, what you like and what you don't like. I like just a little bit, not too much. Settings are a little different now. We're at 1000 ISO. Still don't have to worry about adding any noise reduction. You can do that. Let's just see what happens though. So you wanted to add a little bit of noise reduction. So you go halfway up. And it smooths out the skin. And you might like that look. You might not. I don't really think you need to on this one. So let's drop that back down. So I got another one of them. That way you've got a couple to choose from. The pictures are some of the best shots you can get because you can almost isolate them. If I go back and forth, I actually think I like the other one better, but let's go ahead and crop this in to see what it looks like. Add a little contrast, a little clarity, drop highlights a little. I'm going to pull up the shadows on this a little bit too. All right, there you go. There's that one. Next up is the batter. As you can see, right there's the baseball. He's getting hit. This one I would need to crop a little bit. I can't crop a lot. And unfortunately, I've got all these guys in the background, but they're kind of blurred out. Now you got to make the decision. Do you want the glove or not? You can get rid of the glove, and that kind of takes your center of attention more here than on him. So I'll probably leave it in this shot. Add a little contrast, a little clarity. Drop highlights just a little bit on this photo. Bring up some of the shadows. I wish I could pull that out more, but that's okay. Isolation type shots. Parents like these shots. So I just crop in a little bit. That way the focus is more on him. Drop some of the highlights. Add a little, not a lot of contrast or clarity in this one. We can go down. Enable profile corrections. So let me do this so I can show you where I was standing when I took some of these photos. So for most of these photos, I was right here behind the fence. There's a net right here, so I was protected. Had a step stool over here, and I was shooting this way at the batter. And that way I had first base, and I have second base and third base. I don't get the right-handed picture as well because obviously I'm on the opposite side of him. But hey, since we're on this photo, let's go ahead and edit this photo. You go down, we'll just crop in. And yes, there is that philosophy. Some people say you should never crop in. In sports, a lot of times you have to crop in. So don't let anybody make you feel bad saying you can't crop, just like you can't chip. Yes, you can. You can do whatever you want. I like this shot because he's directly into the sunlight. So you have to drop the highlights. As you can see the difference it makes. Kind of brings up some shadows, gives you some more texture to the photo. Same thing when you add a little clarity, a little contrast. You can see that. It's looking pretty good, nice and clean. We'll go ahead and add that. So you can see it makes a little difference. Again, though, I'm at ISO 1000. The D7200 can handle that without any problems. I don't need to add any noise reduction. Don't need to sharpen it. It all looks fine. Now, with this photo, we're going to take things just a little bit farther. Say somebody wanted this one and I wanted to make it look a little bit nicer. What I could do is jump over here to the color on Lightroom. Select the green. Because it's green, we're going to make that pop a little more. Go to the saturation immediately, and we can just bring that right out. Of course, you have to be careful. If you do too much, you can see the green starting to fade into its face a little bit. So you want to add just enough to make it pop, just like that. And if you really want it, we've got blue back here, but I don't care about him. But we got some nice oranges and reds down there. So let's go here. We can pump that up to, you can see the difference it makes. But if you do too much, it affects the skin tone. So you got to be careful of that. You always got to be paying attention to where you add just enough, but not too much. So there you go. It's another one. You can add just a little more to it if you want to. So we got him again. I'm not going to do that one. Here's an interesting photo for you to think about. This one needs to be cropped. But you want to get all this action. There's the ball. First baseman. Got the pitcher coming over. You got the runner. What do? Do you crop it in a lot? What I would do a free crop on this one. Because I don't want all that stuff in there. I don't need all the headroom. And I want to try and get the focus. Got to keep the ball. So I got them kind of centered in there. Now the problem with this photo is if you see right there, there's a water bottle. That's the umpire's water bottle. What do you do with that? Now if it's for a newspaper, you can't touch it. You need to keep it how it is. Even though they would never know, would they? Let's try this. We're going to go up here. Spot removal. We're going to see if we can get rid of that. So you go like that, and like that. Oh, we don't want it up there though. And look at that. It's almost gone. So you could play around with that too if you wanted. Clean that up a little bit, and then you have more focus. You see the ball coming instead of the water bottle. All right, what else we got? Another picture photo. I don't really like that one. Let's see, do I have any others of him? Yeah. Let's edit this anyway, so you can see again how fast this can happen. You just go like this, maybe straighten it a little bit, crop in, add a little contrast, add a little clarity, drop shadows, and boom, you're done. And again, if you really wanted to delve into this one a little deeper, you could pump up the blues a little bit. And again, what if we pump up the reds just a little? As you can see, it affects his skin tone a little too much though. If you go too high, you can add just a little bit. I don't think I like that one as much. Put that down. The orange I don't mind. You can add a little bit to the orange, which looks kind of cool. All right, what else we got? We got him already. Who else we got? Let's move on. Okay, here's a fun one for you. And we just move it in like that. And there you go. Yeah, that looks good. It looks crooked to me though. All right, straighten it up a little bit. We're going to drop the highlights immediately on this photo. Move everything up just a little bit. On this one, I think I'm going to drop the exposure down because it's not dark enough. I like my photos a little bit darker than a lot of people. And there you go. That one looks pretty cool. Now, if you really want to isolate things, which I do sometimes, I'll free edit it like this. And you can really bring people into the photo, which is what you want to do. You want them to be engaged in your photo. All right, let's move on to another one. That one's just kind of silly and fun. I'm not going to edit it. I just thought it was, let's do a quick crop just for fun. What else we got? Okay, so I'm going to do, okay, yeah, let's do this one as well. Then I have one more photo I want to talk about. This one I'll crop in a little bit. Don't have to do too much. Looks like it's a little crooked. And there you go. Add a little clarity. drop some highlights, a little contrast, excuse me, and then some clarity. I'm going to enable that. And there you're done. You're done if you really want to be. Or let's delve into this one a little bit deeper again. Wasn't going to do this, but it doesn't take much longer. And there you go. Did I drop the highlights? Yeah, we need to drop the highlights on this one even more, I think. There we go. And there you go. Okay, I want to go back to this one photo here. This one right here. I'm going to show you something. And it's one of those dilemmas. I'm going to tell you how you can turn this into a positive. So you have this photo here, looks kind of cool. Let me edit a little more. You got your action. Let's get rid of the glove back there. It's a little tight on that side, but that's okay. Let's go like that. Let me just do a quick edit so I can show you something else. A little contrast, a little clarity. Now the problem with a lot of these photos is you have signs in the background. You have advertisements in the background right here. Builder's first choice. So you're basically giving them free advertisement, which you can't avoid, especially in ballparks where everything's like advertised these days. But what I do, and this is how I turn this into a positive, since I have my own website where I post a lot of these photos and I write stories on sports articles and stuff like that, is I will approach this person. I'll find their website, find out who's in charge, and approach them and say, hey, you want to advertise? You already know they like advertising sports. So you've got an in right there. So you have a potential advertiser to bring in some revenue in, even if it's only $100 a month. It can help pay for your gas money there. If you get 10 of them, there you go, $1,000 a month. All right. Last photo I'm going to edit for you guys. Hopefully you found a few things, some tips that might help you with your photo editing. Now, while you're sitting there, check out a couple more of my other videos showing up here on the side just for you guys. That's all I got for you today. I'm going to send out some emails to some newspapers, see if I can get them interested.